Hey guys, long time no see. It feels like it has been a hot minute since I've really posted consistently. I did post a video on Christmas, but that was like almost a week ago, which is not okay. But that's because I've been home in Bama and I've been kind of just taking a little break, not stressing about posting and spending time doing my thing. But today's video is going to be me recapping this entire decade as well as this year. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tell you all the high points and low points of every year, pretty much from 2010 until now, and then I'm gonna break down 2019 month by month. Shouldn't take too long, I don't think, because I'm just gonna give quick little overview of everything, because I think this is something that will be cool for me to look back on in a few years. I may do like a 5-year video, you know what I'm saying? 5-year, 10-year, you know, that kind of thing, because I feel like this decade has been the decade where I've grown up, you know? That was my teenage years and high school, college, everything happened in the 2010s, I guess is what you call it. And I've seen other people do this video, so I thought it would be really cool to just combine the decade as well as the year. Also, I got my hair cut. I think this is the first video that y'all really seen my haircut, which is honestly, it's just so nice to be able to run your hands through your hair without it getting super tangly. Not the point in this video, but we're gonna go ahead and just look back. I got me my last iced latte of the year. It's also going to be my last one for a while, because if you come back tomorrow on the 1st, I'm going to post a video of my goals for 2020. Lots of goals for 2020, but we're going to go ahead and look back. Let's go back to 2010. Let's throw it back. So 2010, I was in 8th grade. It was a very strange year for me. I began, that's when I was really playing a lot of sports, and I lost a lot of weight in 8th grade. I lost like 30 pounds. I was kind of a, you know, a little bit bigger in middle school. So 8th grade, I stopped drinking carbonated drinks. That's really what did it. And then I also started taking tumbling lessons, and I really played basketball a lot. And that, I really just lost a lot of weight in 8th grade, and I was super insecure. Like, honestly, I was very insecure even after I lost weight. And but the big point of that year was I haven't really had a Coca-Cola or like sweet tea or anything like that since that year. I didn't start drinking coffee until 2017, I believe. So I went like that long without having any caffeine. Well, I did have Spark by Advocare. I did have that for a little while, but after that I pretty much like just drank water. That's all I can really remember clearly from 2010, but I was still, again, like I've talked about it in my video where I talked about like eating disorders and stuff last year. 2010, like 8th grade, I was so insecure all the time. But moving on to 2011, that's when I was really, you know, having to really buy new clothes, because I had lost a lot of weight, and I had my first boyfriend that year. We dated for like 4 months. It was just, you know, your little freshman year of college or freshman year of high school boyfriend. Wasn't a big deal. But the main thing I remember about 2011 was I spent a lot of time with my friends in high school. It was a good year. I remember it was a good year. We walked around my town. I live in Atmore, Alabama, and we used to think it was so cool to just walk. We would walk from like my house to my friend's house to this restaurant Jalisco's that my friend Josie owns, and we would just walk around town. We would walk to the grocery store, we would walk to Dirt Cheap, and just, we thought it was so funny. We'd walk like through the woods, and because none of us could drive yet, so we just walked everywhere, and we thought that was hilarious. I remember freshman year, I really remember like traveling a lot with basketball and like football games. That was the year that one of the only years I really like started in basketball. Because after that I moved up to varsity, and so that's really what I remember about my freshman year of like 2011 is just a lot of basketball, a lot of cheerleading, and a lot of walking. 2012 was a good year because I turned 16 on 12/12/12. I got my first car, and it was a really good year. I remember I really liked sophomore year of high school. You know, that was a year where you're like turning over to being on like varsity sports, or that's how my school did it. Like once you sophomore through senior year, you're on varsity, and I just remember I liked my sophomore year. It was a good year. That's pretty much that. And then 2013, I had a boyfriend that entire year. So that's really what I remember. I wasn't as close with my friends in 2013. We didn't really do a whole lot because I was always with my boyfriend. And you know, that's something I regret, is not doing more like fun things. Oh, also back in 2012, I had these parties at my house with like everybody that was whether it was like my class, or like I remember the track team. That's when it started. We would have like these movie nights, like on Friday nights. Everybody would come over and we would watch a movie and we would walk down my road. I just walked a lot. That was like our thing that we did, and we had a lot of movie nights at my house. That was another thing from, I think that was 2011 and 2012, because everybody used to come over to my house, like the grade under me, the grade above me, and we would just have movie nights at my house. But 2013, again, I wasn't as close with my friends. I had a boyfriend, and that's pretty much what I remember. But 2014 is when things kind of pick up a little bit. I became really close with my friends when me and my boyfriend broke up that summer, and I vowed in 2014, because I was going into my senior year of high school, that I was not going to have a boyfriend at all. I wasn't going to talk to boys. I wasn't going to care. I was just going to have, you know, friends and focus on that, because I knew I wanted to go to Auburn, and I knew I wasn't gonna, you know, worry about boys that year. And so somehow that stuck with me till today. But in 2014, it really turned into one of the hardest years of my entire life. That is when my dad left. Nobody knew. My dad left at the beginning of my senior year of high school. Just said he was going on some business trips, and, you know, started disappearing all the time. I caught him cheating, just putting that out there. You know, it wasn't something I was really looking for. It just kind of happened because, you know, he stopped caring, and that's when everything broke loose, and he was just like, I'm not coming back. He was super awful to me. I cried all the time that year. That fall of 2014, I went through a lot that summer. You know, like when you're in high school, looking back, like, girl drama is not a big deal. You know, you should never have girl drama. And you know, it was just like stupid stuff. You know, like everything's good now, but I think a lot of people thought that I was like kind of mean all the time, because, you know, I was a mean girl, but, you know, I was just always kind of in like not a good mood my senior year, especially that first semester. Well, actually that whole year. And I didn't want people to think that it was because of them, like girls in my class or boys in my class. It was because I was going home every day and not sleeping because of my dad. He was just being super horrible, still is. And I also was putting a lot of pressure on myself that year for grades, because I knew I was up for valedictorian, but your grades aren't really calculated till that next spring. So I was so stressed about my grades. My dad didn't know where he was half the time, and then he would show up and destroy everything, and he was just a really bad person, still is. And I didn't tell anybody what I was going through, because, you know, you want to, like, your family wants to, you know, keep it on the DL and just not cause a ruckus about what's going on in your personal life. So I kind of kept all that a secret, and it was really hard. And that kind of brings us into 2015. 2015 was a year of big changes. So my dad was clearly like moved out by that spring. I didn't tell anybody what went on my senior year of high school until it was like after graduation or around that time. In graduation, I was valedictorian, which was, you know, super important to me. But at the end of the day, y'all, if your mental health is going down because of your grades, put your mental health first, always. Just a point out there, because you don't have to be valedictorian to get scholarships. I'll just put that out there. But you know, my dad, that was the worst year probably, with the things that my dad did from the time I graduated high school to that whole summer, and then also when I moved to Auburn for college that fall. And low-key, you know, like that was going on, like the stuff with my dad. My parents' divorce lasted 5 years. It lasted from 2014 to 2019. So that's always been like something in the back of my mind the whole time. But 2015, that August, I moved to Auburn, and I met some great people. You know, I made some new best friends. Well, like, I just feel like best friends, you can't have like a low amount. You know, you don't have to have a certain amount of best friends. You can have as many best friends as you want. I made new best friends, and, you know, I was also crying all the time because of my dad, because it was so still new to me, and he was like trying to be really controlling of me even though he was gone and I didn't know where he was. It was just a bad time. I'll make a video about that one day. But 2015, I also, you know, I went to college, and I loved it. I loved Auburn. I loved living in my dorm, loved my roommates, and we had the best time, honestly. And 2015 was like the year of change. I remember I did not want to graduate high school. I cried like 2 weeks leading up to graduation every day because I was so emotional about it, because I was going to miss seeing my friends every day because we were so close. But turns out we're still so close. I see them all the time. So cried for nothing. And I was scared of that change, but I'm so glad it happened. Got my first real job at Winn-Dixie 2015, like for that summer before I went to college. But 2015 basically is all I can think about, is leaving high school and going to college. 2016 was one of the best years of my life. I danced a lot, I sang a lot, I had a lot of fun. Me and my friends, we would just go out and we would dance, and I got really like healthy, and it kind of went downhill after that with the health thing. But I had really great roommates. Well, actually 2016 I kind of like lived by myself. I lived in the athletic dorms in college that fall going into the 2017 spring. And I really did like it though. I liked the location. I made a lot of friends. And I'm looking down at my notes right now. 16 was really like going into my sophomore year. That was one of the best semesters. Fall semester of my sophomore year was one of the best semesters of my entire life. When I think of fall semester of sophomore year, I think of football, like Auburn football. I think of dancing, and I think about just like being with my friends all the time. That's all I wanted to do, was just be with them, and it was so fun. But 2017 was one of the hardest years of my life. A lot of personal stuff, you know, Dad still was being controlling, and he put me through a lot that year, and it was just a lot of stuff happened. I went through like a little, it was kind of like a depression in 2017. That spring, just a lot of stuff happened. I was super sad just all the time, and yeah, really just a sad time. Just like, you know, sometimes you're just sad. You know, you don't really have to have a reason for it. It's just you get overwhelmed with school and work and grades and family stuff that it can just make you sad. And so 2017, that summer though, was one of the best summers of my life. I spent it at home in Alabama, or in Atmore, and I went to the beach all the time with my friends. We spent like 2 weeks at the beach. We every Wednesday I went to therapy. I'm not ashamed of that. I loved therapy. I need to go back. Loved it. 10 out of 10 recommend. And I had just a really good time sophomore year. Sorry, the air just turned on. Or not sophomore year, 2017, that summer. It was just so great. Me and my friends, we would go down to like Daphne, Fairhope area, and we would just, every week we would just have so much fun. And that's what I remember, like the high points of 2017. But it really was like a hard time earlier that year. And one day we'll like talk about more of the personal things, but just, you know, just sometimes you're just sad. But then fall 2017, I moved in with more people that I didn't know would end up being my best friends, and I loved it. I moved off campus for the first time. That was my junior year of college, and I had so much fun with my roommates that year. And that was 2017. Going into 2018, it was kind of like a little blur. 2018, it kind of like 2017 fall semester, junior year went by so fast, like crazy fast. So we'll pick up in 2018. 2018 was a really good year because I started my YouTube channel, and I fell in love with YouTube. I posted my first time when we went to Disney World that spring break with my friends that I moved in with, and that's when I kind of just really started loving YouTube, and I thought it was so fun. But I also spent the summer in Auburn. I was alone a lot that summer because I had an internship at a judge's office, and I was also taking 2 classes. So that summer went by really fast. It was not an exciting summer. I was just working all the time, and then that fall, started my senior year of college. I was super nervous pretty much all that fall because I was thinking about jobs and like what was going to happen after college. I became really close with my friends that I worked with at the Auburn Arena, is when we started getting close, as fall 2018. I became really involved, well, even more involved, because I was a Pink Campus rep during from 2016 to 2018, or 2017 to 2019. my bad. And so that fall, a lot of things happened for me. I got to be on the Pink Nation app. I just had a lot of opportunities. I went to California with Pink, but I didn't mention, like, I'm not going to mention everything that happened that year because you can watch my vlogs too to see what all happened, because that spring of 2018 went to New York with Pink, and then fall 2018 went to LA, which is like nuts. So yeah, I had a really great year with Pink. And yeah, 2018 was good, and now we're gonna get into 2019. 2019, I brought it in at Disney World with my best friends. We spent the week, or like 4 days at the Disney parks, or 3 days, and I think we actually turned in before midnight on New Year's Eve because we were so tired, because we were out that whole day. Also in January, I went to New York with VS Pink, and we had like a press day for the Girl Power campaign. Me and 5 other girls were chosen to go for Pink, and I got to go to like People magazine and these other magazines, and had the best time doing that. It was really just nuts that I got the chance to do that. It was really crazy. I have a video where I talk about it too. But also, this year when I went to New York with Pink, I missed my first accounting test, so I got to make it up later, and going to New York had nothing to do with it, but I failed my first accounting test, and that's when it kind of set the tone for the semester, because I was so nervous that I was not going to pass accounting. And let me make sure, like, you know, like, this was intermediate accounting 1. I took financial and managerial accounting before, so this is not like intro to accounting. This was like the real deal accounting, and a lot of people, they think it's easy. I don't like it. This was the 3rd accounting. I had to take the first 2, had to take the 3rd one, didn't like it. I probably could have made better, but I did not like that class, so probably didn't put the effort in that I should have, just being honest. Into February and March, these 2 months were so fast that I'm going to kind of connect them together. I was really stressed with my classes because I was taking 6 classes this last semester, because I graduated with 2 degrees in 4 years, which is why I kind of like doubled up a lot, or I did as much as I could. I would take classes in the summer if I could. And so I was working 20 hours a week, working on YouTube, posting 3 times a week, and then also taking 18 hours worth of classes. So I was like always busy, and then I was also trying to make time for my friends, because these are also the months that I got super close with my friends at the arena. I worked at the Auburn arena, you know, where Auburn basketball is like a big thing now. Not to brag, but I feel like we had something to do with that. Not really, but kind of. And then I had spring break with my best friends. We went to the beach. Lots of work parties. Like I said, we were friends with, like, all my friends at the arena were friends, and we would always have like these little parties at my house and like go out and just spend time together. It was really fun. I don't think they know how much like they mean to me. I love those people. And then Auburn went to the Final Four in basketball, so it was just a really good time. You know, March Madness, like February and March were just really good months, even though they were really stressful. But going into April, I was still really stressed, mainly with accounting, because that class, you know, y'all, that class, I was in my professor's office like every week in April, like basically crying to him, like, look man, I'm graduating, please let me pass. But we've also, that month in April, I finished up my last Pink events. I was a Pink campus rep for 2 years, and so that was really emotional. April was really emotional for me because, like I said, in high school I cried a lot because I was like moving on. It was so scary. And in college, I cried even more. I cried all the time in April because I was gonna miss all these people, because I started getting close to like all these friends, and knowing that I wasn't gonna probably see them possibly never again really scared me. But I really had to, I passed accounting, by the way, obviously, and so I really just had to kind of get it together in April, because I also had to pack, because I found out, well, I didn't find out, but like I knew that I was going to Columbus, Ohio in May, the first week of May, the day after graduation, literally. I made my way to Ohio to intern for VS Pink for a month for their campus rep recruiter. Like intern. Well, I wasn't interning for her. I was an intern. Me and my friend Mason, we were interning for as campus rep recruiters. That was a horrible sentence. I don't know what that was. And so May was filled with just interviews at Pink. I interviewed this year's campus reps, half of them. I made new friends, and we went to Canada It was really fun. Graduated from Auburn, first of all, the beginning of that month on May 4th. May 5th I went to Columbus, stayed in Columbus until the first week of June, and I learned everything I wanted to know about retail, and I realized that's where I wanted to work, and so I made connections with everybody that worked there, and in HR, and it was a very busy month. It went by so fast. I started boxing. It was a really good month. I liked it. I liked May. June was the most confusing month out of this year because that was the year I finished up my internship, and I had to start applying for jobs because I didn't have a job offer after my internship, because in the spring I really honestly didn't apply for any jobs because I just didn't see anything that I wanted, and I knew I wanted to intern at Pink, so I was like, let me check it out, let me see if I'd want to work there. And so that's what happened. And so I made my way home from Columbus, like it was like June 6th or something, and I had myself a little road trip. I went to Nashville for the night. It was really fun. And yeah, so I was driving back from Columbus, Ohio, so I stopped in Nashville for the night by myself. Didn't vlog it because I just had me a little time. I went everywhere there was to go in Nashville. And then I came home in June. I stayed a couple weeks in Atmore, and then I went back to Auburn. But June I was just applying for jobs, and I was really stressed. I went to a job interview in Atlanta, almost took that job, didn't really want that job, it was really random. I also went to Arizona with VS Pink, and that was amazing, and I loved it so much. Yeah, Arizona was great with Pink. It was a social media detox, and that's really what I remember about June. The whole time I was kind of like sick in the back of my stomach because I didn't know if I had a job or not. But going into July, was the beginning of July was also really stressful because I still didn't have a job, but I was interviewing for this job with Pink that I have now. But I had to go through 3 interviews, I believe, or maybe it was 2. It was a long, like, it was like an interview every couple of weeks, so I was like, I don't know what to do, you know. And so I declined that job in Atlanta without even knowing that I got the job at Pink. I was still in the interview process, but I just had like a gut feeling that Pink was gonna work out, and I was just praying about it a lot. Cried a lot in July because I moved from Auburn. I moved from Alabama to Columbus when I got my job, and yeah, I got my dream job with Pink. I'm on their digital team. I've said that in every video, so if you want to watch another video. But yeah, I packed up from Alabama and moved to Ohio the last week of July, so that was a crazy change. Then in August, the first week, I started my new job, and it took me like months to really figure out what everything I was doing, what everything meant, and learn like all the tools that we use, and really learn names and just learn about working. August, I did also deal with like loneliness, and I was very fearful because I was like, I still don't know anything. What if I'm really bad at my job? What if they fire me? And I was lonely too because I was living alone in an apartment, and you know, I had friends there, but I was also so busy and they were busy, so I was just very alone, and I was like, am I going to be able to do this? Am I going to be able to live alone? But going into September was like the second fastest month of the year. I barely remember September. I remember decorating my house for Halloween, and I really was just focusing on YouTube because that was when I was getting close to being able to be monetized, or getting my first, well, I was like, I got approved to get monetized actually back in July, but I didn't actually get money from it until October, but I have a whole video on that too, so I guess I left that out. I got actually monetized late July, but September I was just grinding with YouTube. I was actually working out a lot, going to boxing. I was working a lot in September. Same thing going into October. More work and more YouTube. That's basically all of October. That's when I finally got my first monetization, is that a word? I got my first YouTube check, and I realized in October how much I really do love YouTube and how I want to take it seriously and like really post and just focus on content, even though I feel like I haven't even really started focusing on content as much as I want to. So that's really, October and September flew by. Like, I took YouTube and work. I was working all the time and doing YouTube all the time, and just literally spending my weekends doing YouTube and weekdays doing work. So very busy. I feel like it just turned November yesterday. November is when I started buying my Christmas presents. It's really nice having a big girl job because you can like buy Christmas presents once you have a big girl job. I was also so busy with work in the first half of November, but I did get to go home for like 5 days for Thanksgiving, and that was the first time I went home, and it was really great. But November, again, not a whole lot happened in November. I feel bad if something did happen in November and I forgot about it. But we'll kind of just go on to December, which is this month. This is my first time doing Vlogmas. I worked a lot in the first bit of December, and so didn't really go to the gym as much. I've really slacked in November and December on the gym. September and October, I was working out a lot, eating super healthy, meal prepping. And then when I got back from Thanksgiving, I've kind of just really fallen off. But I've got to be home for a full 2 weeks because again my flight got canceled, so really like basically 2 weeks, and so that's pretty much it. Now I'm just kind of getting ready for the new year, and at first I was like dreading Christmas being over. You know, I really am sad it's over, but I'm so ready for the new year because I have so much planned, and I'm gonna make a video about that right after this, talking about my goals for 2020. But that was my decade. That was my year, if you're interested. Hopefully maybe someone is. But yeah, I really like watching these videos because it's cool to see how people grow, and I think my next video talking about my goals is going to be even cooler because that way next year I can look back and see if I did any of the things that I say I'm going to do. But that's pretty much it. I think that we're gonna end it here. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know your high point of the decade or the year if you want to down below. I'd like to hear it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all in my next video, and have a happy New Year's.